hard brake there. Yeah, it's really confused. So I'm pushing it through with the accelerator. Yeah, it didn't like that. There's oncoming cars, and it's waiting. Okay, that was pretty good. So it's checking. And it's proceeding. That's pretty good. Okay, so next is the tow. So it's getting in the wrong lane. Alright. Proceeding to the tow. Alright. So in that case, the arm was up, so it handled it perfectly. When the arm is down, I don't think it notices it. I think it just keeps going. I haven't tested it in this new version, so I can't say for sure, but in past versions, if the arm was down, it would just keep going. So I've had to stop. Okay, so once we get off the bridge, we're going to be turning left at the first set of lights. This part here is always a bit tricky for it, especially if I'm turning right. Although this time it got in the correct lane, I would have liked to signal, but turning right at that part there can be tricky for it. This time though, we're just going straight and then turning left. So it's a protected light. So far so good. Took that very well. Okay, so that was actually perfect. It saw the pedestrian coming from the right and saw her intent, and it stopped at a very good distance. Okay, this, I don't know what it's doing. That wasn't good though. But when it stopped for that pedestrian who was walking straight towards the road, that was perfect. So I pushed it ahead after with the accelerator. I'm just gonna go. I'm pushing it through this light. It probably could have stopped, but I wanted to go through the yellow, so I pushed it ahead through there. But like I was saying, after the pedestrians had crossed, it still wouldn't go. So here we're coming up on this hill. I'm gonna be turning left. It stopped in the middle of the road. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so here we're downtown Halifax. We're going to be making a right at these lights here. So you can turn right on red. In the past, it's been hesitant to do so. See what's happening here. Okay, so it doesn't look like it's going to make a right on the red light. So I'm just going to push it through because I'm holding up traffic. So it was clear to go, but it would not do it. So send that in. For some reason it's not going. I don't know why. Push it ahead there. just before the light, sorry. So there's pedestrians and other cars turning right. So it's waiting. So we can see these cars in blue. That means it's tracking what they're doing. There's no cars around me, but it's not going for some reason. Okay. Pedestrian. Again, although she must have been pretty far because it took a while, but let's see if it goes after she clears. There's still no cars around me. No, it's not going to go. It's just waiting. So I don't know what that was all about, but it just sit there. Sorry, it just sat there. It wouldn't go. And now it's going. So it's a bit of a weird intersection, but it did it correctly. Okay, stopping for the pedestrian. And then once the pedestrian crosses the road, it doesn't go. So it's being very, very cautious at intersections. You could say too cautious because it's not going when it's clear. It's fine to wait until they cross, but it's still not going after there's no one in the intersection. It's just sitting there. Okay. So waiting for the pedestrian here. Cross the road. She's crossed and it goes. So that was good. Okay, so here we're going to have to make a left. So it's a bit of a blinded turn. So here we can see that wall that it's putting up. So that one there, it had already put itself out a little bit, and there was cars coming from the left, so I just pushed it through. God. I don't know what that was all about. So here it stopped for the pedestrian, and then it started moving again, so I hit the brakes. Okay, so we have a pedestrian coming from our left and ahead of us. Okay, it's safe to go, but it won't go. So I'm pushing it through. Okay, so here we have to get into the right lane. The left lane is a turning lane. Yeah, so I'm gonna change lanes manually here. So now it wants to turn right, even though the navigation is to go straight. So you can see how it's a little bit weird how we're pointed this way, but then we have to go straight. That left lane is a turn-only lane. So even though it's awkward in the way that it's positioned, that's the correct lane. So I'm gonna disengage here, make it go forward. So again, it's putting us in the turning lane, even though we're going straight. So I'm gonna have to manually correct that. That seems to be a bit of an ongoing issue. It was an issue in the build before it as well. It would put itself in what it thinks is the right lane, even though there's clear markings. It was not the correct lane, as we can see in that instance there. It needed to be in this lane here. The other one was to turn left. So we got a green light. It's not moving, so I'm pushing it through. Just trying to turn there. I don't know what that was all about. In front of us, we're going to be making a right turn here. So it's giving him plenty of room. Green light. And it's proceeding. All right. So we have traffic coming from our left. So it's clear after this car here. That was perfect. As soon as it was clear, it went. So we have some construction here, so it needs to go over, which it does. And then it gets confused. That wasn't great. I would have liked for it to get over right away instead of continuing to go on that lane there. Okay, so we're making a left turn here. It's getting itself in the lane. It's going for it. Okay. And now another left turn here. It's clear. It's a one-way, so the only way cars can come is from the right. Okay, I'm pushing it through, so it's holding up traffic, but there was no cars coming and it was a one-way, so they can only come from one way. Okay, so again, tried to put itself into a turning lane even though it has to go straight. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. It doesn't position itself in the right lane, or the correct lane. So it handled that pretty well. And I think we'll wrap it up there.